Bonjour mon petit chef-fleur, Amber here. Bonjour, guten morgen, buongiorno, good morning. Anyway, yes, it's me. It's me, Mario. I don't know how to film a video. It is June, today is June 10th, and I still haven't filmed my May reading wrap up. Oh my god. Oh, sorry. I am very scatterbrained lately. Anyway, today's June 10th, and I still haven't filmed my reading wrap up for May in the Asian Readathon. A lot of that, all of that, is to do with absolutely everything going on outside of the book world. Actually, I can't say outside of the book world because y'all really running amok and acting a fool right now in the book community. I'm not gonna talk about it right now. I don't know if I want to film a whole other video. So many other black booktubers have basically already iterated all of my thoughts on everything regarding the rampant racism in this country, as well as the racism in the community and the performative allyship and the just, we're not going to talk about it right now. But yeah, all of that has come down really heavy on me, and I just didn't feel like filming. I didn't have the mental capacity to film a video, edit a video, get ready for a video. It's the 10th of June, and I have read a total of, I'm surprised that I got to page 50 of the book that I'm trying to read right now. But anyway, let's talk about May. Like I said, May was the Asian Readathon, second year participating. I think I just uploaded the vlog for that. But I read some pretty great books in May. All of the books that I read are, I didn't read one bad or mediocre book in May, so that is beautiful. Let me stop talking. I will say that because, like I said, I'm so scatterbrained, I haven't even set up my reading journal for June yet. I apologize in advance for everything that's about to come out of my mouth while I try to talk about these books. Okay, so the first book that I read in May was the optional, I guess, group book, and it was Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, and this was also I took part of the Little Fires read along. I won't necessarily say watch along because I didn't watch it, the show, for the during the dates assigned for the watch along. By the time the Asian Readathon was announced and we found out what the group book was, I had already watched 2 episodes of Little Fires Everywhere, which is why I read the book first, because I wanted to finish the book before I continued on with the series, and I didn't want to wait the additional 2 weeks to watch the rest of the show. So anyway, Little Fires Everywhere, the story starts when Mia and her daughter Pearl move to Shaker Heights, Ohio, which is this, there's a proper name for it, I can't remember. Shaker Heights is one of the first planned communities in the country, which means like basically everything is sort of regulated in the community. There are certain colors you can paint your houses. You have to have your grass cut at a certain level. There's a aesthetic and expectation within the community. Anyway, story starts when Mia and Pearl move to said community where privilege runs rampant, and they become entangled with the Richardson family, Elena, her husband, and her 3 kids. Moody, 4 kids, wow. 4 kids, Moody, Izzy, Trip, and Lexi. She's the one I keep forgetting for some reason. Anyway, so Mia is, I beg your pardon, sir. Mia is an artist, and she has been toting Pearl across the country since birth, following her inspirations every time she gets a new idea for a project. They move cities, and this time Mia has promised Pearl that it'll be different, that they are not just gonna jump and move. So Pearl really lets herself become a part of Shaker society, and Mia doesn't necessarily love it because she has raised Pearl differently than all of these super privileged kids. At the same time, there is another family in Shaker is in the process of adopting a Chinese baby. There's a controversy that brews within the community. Elena and Mia find themselves on either side of this debate, basically. And then along the way, Elena kind of becomes obsessed with Mia because she just goes against all of the rules that she strictly lives by, and is shaking up, she and her daughter are shaking up her family and the community, and like all of her children are now attached in some way to Mia and Pearl. This was a lot better than I expected it to be. I've heard a lot of talk about the book, but I don't know, it was just always something that I was like, maybe I'll get around to it. I'm not in a rush, but I really enjoyed this book. It was a really interesting look at privilege and class, and just conversations of race, and it's a really interesting conversation about interracial adoption. I think that's a conversation all of the Richardsons except for Izzy can choke. That's all I'm gonna say. Izzy is the only one that deserves rights. And then after I finished watching the show, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. After I finished reading the book, immediately went on to watch the show, which was also a very interesting take on the book. A lot is different than the book, but it's done well, I think. It hurt me to see Reese Witherspoon play this role, especially when we get to the last few episodes. I don't want to talk about it, but the show, the casting in that show is impeccable. The way they cast the younger Mia and younger Elena, shout out Anna Sophia Robb, even matching the kids up to their parent. I think my neighbor has kidnapped the outdoor cat again. Let Kobe Jack live, please. Anyway, so really enjoyed this book. Love the show. I want to rewatch the show. I watched the last episode twice in a row. Also, the way they changed what happens, the big to do at the end. So after Little Fires, I hopped back to my YA fantasy and I picked up a sequel. This book I read for the challenge, the prompt of read a book recommended by an Asian. And for that I read Soul of the Sword by Julie Kagawa, which is the sequel to Shadow of the Fox, which I read at the end of last year, beginning of this year. When did I read Shadow of the Fox? I read it recently. Started reading, if you don't know, I started reading the first book last summer or something, and then I for a readathon, I don't remember which readathon, I think it was the Disney readathon, and I couldn't get into it at the time, so I put it down. Months later I finally picked it back up, and I'm so glad that I did because I love this series so much. So anyway, I'm not going to tell you what this is about because spoilers, but Shadow of the Fox follows two main characters, Yumiko, who is a half kitsune. Yeah, that's definitely a cat. Who's half kitsune, and she has been raised at this temple. And at the start of the story, an Oni, a demon, is sent to... She's raised at a temple, which also has a piece of the dragon scroll that every, I think, 100 or 1,000 years or something like that, whoever possesses the full dragon scroll gets one wish. The scroll has the power to like bring about complete destruction, and the temple that Yumiko lives at is protecting one piece of it. And at the beginning of the story, like I said, an Oni is sent to destroy the temple, kill everyone in it, and take the piece of the scroll, except that Yumiko is sent with the piece of the scroll to another temple to keep it safe. As she's escaping, she runs into our other main character, Tatsumi, who is this shadow warrior assassin who has been sent also to get the piece of the scroll and kill whoever gets in his way, basically. Yumiko convinces him that she knows where the piece of the scroll is, and that she can take him to it. She tells him that the temple that she's trying to get to is where he needs to get the piece, and they embark on this journey, him not knowing that, one, she is Kitsune, two, that she has what he's looking for. Along the way, we meet a host of characters that become vital to the story. Both Yumiko and Tatsumi start learning more about humanity and what that means, and finally like sort of having positive interactions with other people. So this book picks up right after the end of the first one, after everything that could go wrong has gone wrong, basically, and what's left of our little motley crew is picking up the pieces and carrying on with this quest to protect the piece of the scroll and get it to the Steel Wind Temple. Is that what it's called? There is a demon on the loose that is bent on taking down the Cage clan, the Shadow Warriors, where Tatsumi is from, his clan, and, you know, destroying as much as possible, humanly and inhumanly possible. So they have to protect this scroll, defeat this demon. There's a lot going on. I've fallen so in love with this series. I love these characters so much, and I love that like every book we learn more about them. They become more sort of like real as the story goes along, more complex. Kame and Daisuke are my children, and I just got the third and final book, and if anything happens to them, Julie, I will have words. I will have some words for you, okay? Like I just said, I just got the third book, and I need to know how this ends. Because the way book 2 ended, y'all had one singular job. Why can I not have nice things? Why can't things be easy? I said this in my reading vlog, but honestly, I hope to one day write an ending to a book that upsets people the way that upset me. Tatsumi deserves better. Y'all need to read this series. It's so good, and I hope the third book is the conclusion that I deserve. I gave that 4.75 stars. I think the only reason I didn't get a full 5 is because like for maybe like the first third of the book, it was just like, you know, just going about our business, and then it didn't pick up until like pick up for my taste until a little further along in the book. After that book, I read a book I've been meaning to read. I've been staring at on my bookshelf for maybe almost a year now, if not a year. And this one I read for this one was one of the 3 I chose for read a book featuring an Asian character or written by an Asian author you can relate to. And I read Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. I chose this because there's glitter all over that. Is that from the book or did I do that? I think I did that, but it makes it pretty. Anyway, oh yeah, that's glitter for me. Okay, can you see it? I chose this one because one, both Elizabeth Lim and I are women, and the main character and I are also both women. Spin the Dawn has been described as, I almost said Moulin Rouge. Mulan meets Project Runway. It follows Maya, who is the only daughter of a tailor. She dreams of being the imperial tailor, but of course she lives in a world where women are not allowed to work in that field, to be tailors. All she could be is possibly like a seamstress. She works as a seamstress in her father's shop, and one day her father is summoned to court to take place in this competition to become the imperial tailor. Unfortunately, her father is really not well enough to do it. Two of her brothers have died, and another one of her brothers was injured in the war, and she is the only one capable of doing it. So she disguises herself as her brother and takes his place and goes to the palace to, she thinks, to be the tailor, but she finds out when she gets there it's to actually compete to be the tailor for the emperor's fiance, the future empress, who is something else, Lady Sarnai. Before she goes, her father gives her with these scissors that have been passed down. We find out they are enchanted scissors. That's not a spoiler because they're right there. So basically this is the story of her trying to survive and win this contest, and hide her true identity. And she's also trying to figure out this mysterious what is he, like head enchanter or something like that, I don't know, Idan. Then starts the other half of this book, basically, where she is sent on a quest, Lady Sarnai's final challenge. She's sent on a quest to make Lady Sarnai's wedding gowns, and the challenge is to make a dress made out of from 3 gowns: from the laughter of the sun, the tears of the moon, and the blood of the stars. She's supposed to be recreating the gowns of a goddess, I believe. The task is supposed to be impossible. It's supposed to be like a myth or a folklore. She and Idan go on the quest to acquire the items so that she will live, basically. So yes, I really enjoyed this book. I didn't doubt that I would. I love a retelling. We know this. I love Mulan. I love any sort of Mulan retelling. I also love the tailoring aspect, the craft aspect to it. I like where the story went. I like the magical aspect of the story, and I'm curious to see how that sort of heightens in the next book, which I immediately pre-ordered when I finished reading this. I really like Maya as a character. Idan is interesting. Gave this one 4.5 stars. There were certain bits where I think this is one of the main reasons why it wasn't a full 5 for me, where like the more action or dangerous or exciting, I'm quoting, bits like seemed almost like glossed over. You didn't really feel the peril within it. I'm sorry, like I mentioned in my vlog, there's a scene where Maya ends up burned. Her skin is like burned and blistered, and in a scene like that I would expect to feel like tension and uncomfortable reading it, but it was just sort of like la da, sort of some things seemed to, or issues seem to be wrapped up too easily and too quickly. But that scene in particular, I also mentioned in my vlog that I sort of like, when I was reading it, I thought of the scene in The Hunger Games where the game makers set fire to the arena and Katniss is hit with one of the fireballs, and like reading about her dealing with the burns and the blisters and stuff, I was like viscerally I was uncomfortable. Every time I've read it, I'm just like uncomfortable, but like I felt something reading it. I felt the danger and the like fear and the pain, and I didn't get that in a lot of different scenarios in here. But aside from that, I really enjoyed it. I am excited for book 2 to come out. I'm really curious to see where the story goes from here. I can't say really much else without telling you what happens at the end, but I want to see how that plays out. I want to see how these characters continue to grow. I want to see what I want from this series eventually. I want Maya and Lady Star and I to team up in some way and just, I don't know, set some things straight is what I'll say. Okay, so after Spend the Dawn, I read another book that was for the same prompt. Read a book with an Asian character that you can relate to, or by an Asian author that you can relate to, and I'm literally maybe the last person to ever read this book, but I'm here now. And it's An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. Y'all, why did you let me sleep on this book for so long? Come on. If for some reason you, like me, have not read this book follows Laya and Elias. Laya is a slave. She's a new slave. At the beginning of the story, Laya's brother has been arrested by the Empire for treason, and her grandparents, whom they live with, are killed, and her whole life is destroyed. Her parents have already died years ago, and she runs off to find the resistance, to help, because they are the reason her brother has been arrested. She needs them to help her free him, and the arrangement that is made is they'll help her get her brother out of prison, if she agrees to spy on the, what is she, the general or something of the Empire's military academy. So she's put there as a slave. On the flip side of that is Elias, who is the finest soldier at this academy and is just about to graduate and become a mask. They're like the highest ranking, the soldiers. He, however, does not want that life. He, at the beginning of the story, is preparing to run away and just abandon his orders and responsibility. However, he is, are they called the augurs? He's told that if he leaves, he will become basically the person that he hates. He hates all of the violence that he has to want to dole out. He's promised that if he stays, graduates, does whatever, my brain's shutting down, he will have the chance to have what he wants, which is his freedom. Long story short, their paths cross a couple of times because they are both at this school. Basically, their destinies are intertwined, and both of their actions really impact what's going on within the empire, with the rebellion, with the future emperor. Am I saying this right? Is it emperor? Yeah, emperor. There is this challenge that's going on with the school, within the school. Elias, his best friend Helene, and some other people I don't care about are all fighting, competing to be the next emperor or empress. In Helene's case, she is the only woman at the school, only girl at the school. There's that, and then along the way there's some more magical elements being woven in, which I'm sure will become more prominent within the stories. All the while Laya is trying to figure out what's going on with her brother. She also has to deal with the fact that maybe the people she's trusting are people she shouldn't be trusting. I don't know if any of that made sense, but that's the gist without giving too much away, I think. But y'all didn't tell me. Y'all let me sleep on the series. Y'all. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I think I found a new absolute favorite series. I'm only one book in, but book 2, Torch Against the Night, showed up yesterday, day before yesterday. So I can't wait to read that. I don't know when. Maybe I should just do a TBR where I just read sequels and like continuations in series, because I have a lot that I have to do. Stop. I love this. I love both of these characters. I love Elias. This poor boy. This poor boy. Oh, also, did I tell you that he's the general or whatever she is? That's her son. She hates him, but that's her son. Both of them deserve better, is what I'm saying. I like how complicated, and I guess both of them are. There's no like strictly good character, basically. I mean, Laya's good, I guess, but I know she'd do basically anything to get her brother back. I don't know what I'm saying. I loved this book and I can't wait to read book 2. Oh my god, I was on the edge of my seat reading this the whole time. I'm like, what's going on? What is that? What's happening? What does this mean? What does this mean? Especially as we got further into the book, there's quite a bit of build up and getting to know the characters. But I love how like fleshed out the characters are and how sort of like fleshed out the world is. And what is her name? What's Kitchen Girl's name? I can't remember her real name. Like, there's not too much I can say, because is her name Izzy? Yeah, Izzy deserves so much better. There's not too much I can say because I don't want to give a lot of the story away. This is just one that you have to read for yourself and figure out what's going on. Bless. And then the last book that I read for May, completed the challenge of read a book featuring an Asian character or written by an Asian author who is different from you. And for that book, I read Like a Love Story by Abdi Nazimian. Another one I've been meaning to get around to forever. This cover is so pretty. This book follows Reza, Art, and Judy. It's told through all 3 of their POVs. Reza has just moved to New York from Iran by way of Toronto. His mom has just remarried, and so they are moving in with his stepfather and stepbrother. This is New York at the end of the 80s, the late 80s, during the AIDS crisis. Reza is figuring out, or is coming to terms with the fact that he is gay, and the fear that comes with that, considering that all he really knows about gay life is what he's gathered from the media regarding AIDS. He meets Judy, one of our other characters, on the first day of school. Judy is an aspiring fashion designer. She absolutely loves her uncle Steven, who's practically raised her. Steven is a gay man who is living with AIDS, and he is also a very outspoken ACT UP activist. And the third part of this trifecta is Judy's best friend Art, who is the only out guy at their school, also worships Steven. It says out and proud teen. He is a photographer, and he, like I said, worships Steven, is like wants to be the activist that Stephen is very vocal about his activism and work with ACT UP and wants to do more. So like I said, the three, well, Judy and Art meet Reza at school, and Judy is immediately taken with him because he's not like the other guys that she knows, including Reza's stepbrother. She assumes that he's straight, and because he really hasn't come to terms with his sexuality, and one is living with all of the fear regarding possibly contracting AIDS, and also doesn't want to disappoint his family, he is still very much closeted, and they end up dating. Judy is like in love with Reza, and you know, good for her. On the other side of that is Art. He realizes that he is also attracted to Reza, but would never like do anything to hurt Judy. Reza's battling feelings of attraction towards Art, also doesn't want to hurt Judy. Instead, Art just focuses on his work projects and documenting ACT UP protests and whatnot. At the same time, he and Reza do become closer. And basically the last paragraph on the flap is the perfect summary of this book. This is a big-hearted, sprawling epic about friendship and love and the revolutionary act of living life to the fullest in the face of impossible odds. And I really loved this book. I really enjoyed my time reading this book. I started reading it. It took me a while to read it because I had started reading it around the same time that I first found out and started seeing everything about George Floyd's murder. So it was kind of hard to get through it, and there's some bits of this book that are heavy, and it was kind of a lot of emotions going on. But at the other side of that, there is such a message of love and hope and joy, and just I needed that. And I enjoyed this book a lot. The story is still so relevant and still so important, and the message, like I said, of love and resilience, and it's still very necessary. I felt a lot of feelings reading this book. One of the things that took it down to like a 4-star is because I really couldn't stand Judy for a lot of this book. I feel I don't know, I feel like she was very self-centered at times, and like, fine, I'm not saying that she was completely wrong in all of the instances, but she was irritating. And I get that she was important to the plot, and by the end of the book, like, I'd come around to her a bit, but I don't know, there was actually a point in the book where I considered like stopping the book, putting it down, and just stepping away from it because I was infuriated by Judy, and I didn't want to deal with her. I didn't want to read it. I think also I was just like in a weird place, and I was just overly emotional. My emotions were kind of frayed, so like the smallest thing was ticking me off, but we persevered. And I spent a lot of time listening to Madonna while reading this. Let's stick to 80s Madonna, because they're all like obsessed with Madonna, and she is such an integral part of the story, and like kind of like the backdrop of the whole story. And so that was fun. I thought this overall was a really beautiful book, and it was a perfect segue and transition to go into Pride Month. So lovely. Oh, I also love the history woven into the book, and the way it was woven into the book, like regarding the AIDS crisis and the government, and how the people dying of AIDS were treated, gay history or LGBT history, and the history of ACT UP and the protests and what led to a lot of what led to just like looking at how different things were not that long ago. And just, you know, I think it was the right time to read a story where like sort of like revolution is the center of the story, and just reminder that like that's how things change, that's how things get done, not by sitting quietly and just hoping that something changes. Yeah, so those were my main reads. The only book that I didn't read was Girls of Storm and Shadow, but I still plan on reading that this month. I set that and like a love story towards the end, that way if I didn't finish one of them they could carry on into Pride Month reads. Yes, so overall I think May was like a spectacular reading month. June's not going as well because I can't seem to read right now. I'm hoping that'll change soon. I did read, I did have managed to get to page 50 of the book I'm currently reading, which is Full Disclosure by Cameron Garrett. So thank you for watching all of that. I'm gonna try to get some content. I'm gonna try to find the will to do something. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you have gotten this far, bless. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know down below what your favorite read of May was, what you're reading in June. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I said that already. If you like me, feel free to subscribe. All my places are down here, so you can follow me and I'll follow you back, and I'll see you very soon.